This is Sheila's Take, a podcast where you can hear my take on everything: love, hate, relationships, family, and today's issues. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to talk to you today about something simple that we do on a regular basis, and we do it so often that we don't even realize we're doing it until we're not able to do it. And that's breathing. Do we ever take the time to breathe? You know we have to do it as part of our makeup as beings on this planet. We have to breathe. We have to take in air to breathe, to live. But do we take the time to breathe is my question. As we go through this thing that we call life, there are so many things that we do on a daily basis. We're working, we're shopping, we're taking care of our family, our friends, our loved ones. But do you take the time to just breathe? Do you take that time? Do you say, you know what, hold up, let me take some time to just relax and breathe and chill? I don't think we do. As I was laying in bed and this subject came to me, I got up and I decided, you know what, let me check the Webster's definition of breathe. And they had a couple, I'm not going to bore you with them. You can look them up. But they had a couple of definitions. And one that stuck out to me was to inhale and exhale freely. Right? Because it's something that we do, and we don't even realize we're doing it. We just know it's something that's done. We realize when we are not able to do it that there's a problem, but otherwise we don't think about it. It's estimated that a person will breathe in and out about 22,000 times a day. Can you imagine that? Not a week, not a month, not a year, a day, 22,000 times a day. And we don't even pay attention to it. I saw something that was interesting to me, and it was about ANS. Those are the initials of it. It's autonomic nervous system. And I didn't know what this was, but your autonomic nervous system, or I'm going to say ANS, which is the symbolism for it, is the part of your nervous system that controls involuntary actions, such as your heart beating and the widening of your blood vessels and the narrowing of the blood vessels. You know how when the blood goes through your vessels and they widen up, they open up, and then when they're once they pass through, they close. So that's what that does, and it's called the autonomic nervous system. Well, taking in deep breaths can help you voluntarily regulate this system, which gives you many benefits. When something goes wrong with the ANS, it can cause serious problems, including blood pressure problems. So regulating your breathing can especially lower your heart rate. It can regulate your blood pressure and help you relax, all of which, of course, will help decrease how much of the stress is released into your body, right? And with everything going on these last, I want to say 2 years, going on 2 years, especially with COVID and the pandemic and the children being home from school, there are a lot of people who are stressed, So just breathing can help regulate or decrease the stress that is released into your body. Those who are nervous or anxious like myself, or even people who hyperventilate, are told to take deep breaths. Why are they told to do this? Because deep breathing is one of the best ways to lower the stress in your body. It's because when you breathe deeply, take a deep breath in, it sends a message to your brain to calm down and relax. Right? It's like chill. Just chill out. We got it. The brain then sends this message to your body. I've been doing these, there's a app that I have, and it's, I forgot, it's the Holy Bible app. It's YouVersion. And they have, different, daily plans for you that you can read on a daily basis. And, it's a really good app. It gives you anything that you're going through in life. If you want to learn more about the Bible, if you want to learn more about how to be a good wife, how to be a good husband, how to be a good mother, how to have patience, you can find it in this app. And they give you a daily word, and they give you a scriptures to go along with it. One of the things I started was I wanted to lift up my prayer life and just be a little bit more consistent with my prayer life. And one of the things that they had an app, in the app, they had something where you can write out your prayers and pray your prayers. But one of the things that it always started off with was take a deep breath, then take another deep breath, and take another deep breath. It's always take a deep breath because it calms you. It makes you feel relaxed, and it releases tension and stress. It calms yourself. My young son, he gets upset a lot. He gets very heated, and he doesn't know how to control his emotions at times. So when he gets upset, I always tell him, calm down, baby, calm down, and take deep breaths so you can calm yourself down. So breathing is taking deep breaths, and knowing you're doing it is helpful. I follow this amazing sister in Christ on Instagram. Her name is Danella Lane, and hopefully one day I'll have the pleasure to have her as a guest on my podcast. But Danella is a mother of four who's raised her children, and they love and respect the Word of God. They don't just speak it; they actually live it. In James 1:22, it tells us, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only," which means don't just listen, don't just read the Bible or hear it, but you got to live it. You gotta do something, And Danella and her family are a living testament to this scripture. But anyway, getting back to Danella, on her Instagram, she started a corporate financial fast with us, and it was a 7-day fast. And in this fast, we could not spend any unnecessary money for 7 days. 7 days. I mean, we couldn't buy anything that was unnecessary. We had to get our groceries, put gas in our car. And I'm the type of person that, before that, my husband and I don't mind cooking, but it's a chore to me. It's a chore. And so it's easier after you've worked all day to get on the phone, or to especially now, you got Uber, you got DoorDash, you got Grubhub. You get on, you order something, and it's there, So, we'd order food, anything. If I'm bored or whatever, I'm shopping online. So, on this particular 7-day fast, we could not spend anything unnecessarily. Get our gas, groceries, everything. Okay. In those 7 days, Danella met with us through video every day, and she gave us assignments. And one of the assignments she gave us towards the end of the corporate fast was to survey the land, meaning what triggers you to spend, or know your triggers. So I started to look at my spending habits really closely, and one of the things that was revealed to me was that when I'm stressed or anxious, which had become in the last couple of years really, really bad with me with anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. I would spend money. I didn't realize I was doing this until I was tasked by Danella to survey the land. So, one of the things I love to do when I have a low in work is I'll go and I'll start online shopping. And I think since COVID and being home, working from home, it's gotten a little bit worse because I was never one to go out to malls and go shopping, and I don't mind doing that, but I don't want to go into a mall. I'd rather go to like a little mini mall or a store and get what I need. But I don't want to go to a mall and go to 5, 6, 7, 8. But now since online shopping has increased, especially since with COVID, I do a lot of online shopping. And one of the things I love are my boots. I have so many pairs of boots, it's ridiculous. And now, I'm no longer going into an office. I work from home full time. There's no reason for me to buy a lot of clothing or boots and things, but I'm still doing it. We recently moved into a new area last year. I moved out of state and moved into a new area. And when we were moving, my husband kept telling me, "Hun, you have too many shoes. You got to get rid of some of this stuff." And I'm like, yeah, "Dude, that's not happening, sweetheart. It's not happening, hun." So I like to buy, I love boots. So now when I'm feeling stressed and I want to purchase another pair of boots that I really don't need, I now start, since I've surveyed the land and I know what my triggers are, I stand up and I walk away from whatever object I'm using to make my purchases. And I start to take some deep breaths because I know, I'm feeling stressed and I'm like, okay, I'm working. Let me buy something so I can feel a little bit better. So I get up and I'm taking some deep breaths and I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. And because it decreases how much stress is released into my body, when I return to either my phone or computer or whatever thing I'm using to purchase or what I have in my basket, I just delete what's in my basket and I continue working on what I'm actually supposed to be doing. And not only that, it saves money. And to circle back to that corporate fast, I realize now, I'm doing more cooking because I know my triggers. So I'm doing more cooking at home. I don't purchase as much stuff that I don't unnecessarily need, which is a good thing. I buy what's needed, not what's unneeded. Just because. And when I feel that way, I get up, I walk, and I take my deep breaths. My husband gave me an Apple Watch. I think it was one of the first ones, because he had purchased a new one, I think, but it's the old one. And I was very grateful for it, because basically I use a watch just to tell time or to see who's calling me. Very rarely will I use it to respond to texts or answer calls. I don't do that. I use it as a watch because I'm just, I don't understand how people can walk around and talk to someone on a speaker on their wrist. It's just silly to me. But if I want to know who's calling me, I'll use it for that. So, but the first time I wore it, I'm in my office at work when I work, when I had to go into the office, and it slightly vibrates. And, since my phone is lying there on the desk, I turn and wait and look at my phone, and I don't see a call. I don't see a missed call or a text. So I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. So I continue working on what I'm working on, and I ignored the vibration. Then I feel it again. And now I'm like, oh God, what is this? Because the one thing you want to do when you're at work and you're tasked with an assignment, and I'm one of those people, when I get into the groove of something, I don't like to be interrupted. Because and I think a lot of people are like that. I'm a good multitasker, but I don't like to be interrupted when I'm like in the groove of something. And even that slight vibration, I'm like, what is going on? What is it? Because now I'm annoyed, because I'm thinking, all right, it's an old watch. The battery's dying already. Now it's like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. And now, the battery's dead. I don't have an Apple Watch charger at my office. I have an app, I have a iPhone charger, but I don't have an Apple Watch charger. So I'm like, whatever. But when I glance down on my wrist, I notice the battery isn't dead. It's vibrating because this Apple Watch that my husband gifted me with is letting me know it's time to take a 1-minute break to breathe. My husband, unbeknownst to me or even himself, installed an app on his phone that tells me it's time to take a minute to breathe. Wow, isn't that funny? So, all right, okay. So I press the button on my watch, and it tells me to inhale. So I inhale. And then it tells me to exhale. So I exhale. And I continue this routine about 20 times for about 60 seconds or a minute. And when I'm done, it asks me if I want to do another minute or stop. So I'm like, okay, let me continue. I'm feeling something here. I don't know what it is, but let me continue. So I do it another 2 times for a total of like 3 minutes. And I'm inhaling. And I'm exhaling. I inhale through my nose. I exhale through my mouth. When I'm finally finished, I sit back at my desk and I look at my computer, and I'm feeling like really refreshed and exhilarated. Now, this is just from breathing for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And I'm able to, I feel clearer. Someone walks into my office, I'm not going to give them the death stare because you're interrupting me when I'm in the midst of something that I really don't feel like doing in the first place. But, I feel more relaxed, and I feel more comfortable, and I feel more exhilarated. And this is just for 3 minutes. I do this now daily. I do this every day. Every day. And now I work from home. I put my Apple Watch on. This old Apple Watch, I still have it. I put it on, and every day when it comes on and it says breathe, I stop what I'm doing and I do 3 minutes of breathing exercises. And I feel good. Most people know that people who've known me for a long period of time, they know, especially my family, they know one of my all-time favorite entertainers was Miss Whitney Houston. As Wendy Williams would say, she was a friend in my head. We were the same sign. We share the same birth month, the day, everything. And I remember once, like years ago, I had to be like in my mid-20s or something, and you know how we are in your 20s. You're feeling yourself, and you think you're all that, and as we used to say, a bag of chips. But a coworker told me that I reminded him of Whitney Houston. Not because of my voice, because, I can't carry a tune if it was given to me in a bag, but because I was more authentic. And that was one of the best compliments I ever received. Well, anyway, Whitney Houston starred in a movie along with Angela Bassett, I think Loretta Devine, and Layla Rashawn called Waiting to Exhale. And it was based on a book by the author Terry McMillan. And I think it was directed by, I think his name is Forrest Whitaker. Yeah, Forrest Whitaker directed it. And it's a really good movie. As you know, the years go by and you realize that, you know, they have all these girlfriend movies coming out. And I think there was one with Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett Smith, and I forgot the other two women. But anyway, as girlfriend movies come out for sisters, I think this was a really one of the really first ones and it really was a good movie. But the story itself is about four 30-something women who each are waiting to exhale or breathe out until they can feel comfortable in a committed relationship with a man or each other. Can you imagine that? Can you literally imagine the stress and heartaches that these women went through because they couldn't, or probably just didn't want to exhale? Try this exercise. Close your eyes and think of something you really need or want. Right? Like, think of something you want. Then take a deep breath and hold it for as long as you can without exhaling until you receive it. It ain't gonna happen. It can't happen. I mean, there are people who, when they swim, I'm not a swimmer, you know, I'm not a water person unless I'm taking a shower or a bath. I'm not a water person. But there are people who can swim, who are swimmers, and they are able to hold their breath for a long period of time. I don't know how long, but not until they receive something. Let's say you are one of those people, you're waiting to receive a car, right? And you have $500 and that car is $5,000. Now, I'm fictional, of course, because I don't think you can buy any new car nowadays for $5,000. But you have $500 and you want to buy a car that's $5,000. And you say, you know what? I'm going to hold my breath. And I'm not going to exhale until I receive that car or that $5,000 to get that car. It can't happen. It can never happen because you wouldn't be able to live. You automatically, the body's you're going to have to breathe. No one can go without breathing. It's a way of life. It is life. It's life. If you're not breathing, you're not alive. And if you're not alive, then you're dead and you won't need it anyway, right? You ever call someone and they tell you, I'll call you back? Now, to me, that means I'm in the middle of something, you know, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going to hit you up. I mean, that's me. That's what I do. But to some people, it's not. You know, I have friends that will call, you know, they'll tell me that, and they will call hours or even days later. Some, when they eventually call or get around to calling me back, I used to say this to one of my friends all the time. I was turning blue in the face waiting for you to return my call. Now, we know I'm not turning blue in the face because, first of all, people who know me know I'm not waiting like that. I don't wait on anybody like that, you know. But what I meant was, you know, I inhaled. The meaning of that term is I inhaled, but until you call me back, I'm not exhaling. I'm going to inhale and wait for you to call me back. So I'm turning blue in the face because you haven't called me back. It's a stupid term, and I don't use it as much now, but you know, that's what I would say. My point is, unlike the characters in the film, you can't wait to exhale. You have to breathe. You have to breathe. Breathing does a body good. It's just like milk. You know that term that used to, it was a big term that said, that came out years ago when they wanted people to drink milk and they had the mustache. And it would be, people would drink milk and they have the milk mustache, grown people. And they would say, milk does a body good. Unfortunately now you have so many people who are lactose intolerant. It's like milk really doesn't do a body good, but breathing does a body good. Breathing does a body good. Breathing releases stress. It helps with lowering your heart rate, your blood pressure. You ever think of this? If the ladies in the film exhaled sooner, maybe they would have been less stressed and found happiness quicker, right? I mean, if you're stressed, you're going around, you're always agitated and angst. It's like, I don't know. It's like, how can you be happy when you're always stressed? Like I shared, that I suffer from anxiety and now I'm learning how to deal with it. I'm learning how to deal with it without having to take medication. I'm learning how to deal with it by reading scriptures, by knowing the signs of why I'm getting anxious or why I have this anxiety, so I can head it off at the path. But you can't find happiness. You can't be happy if you're always anxious, because you're always wondering, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going on? And you're stressed. How can you even be good to someone else if you're always stressed? That means you're not going to be in a good relationship, right? The person that you're in a relationship with is going to be like, oh God, here we go again, So I think that if they would have exhaled, they would have been less stressed and found happiness sooner. That's the Sheila take on this, But then again, then the movie wouldn't have been made, It is what it is. But, Job 33:4 says, the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. So again, we need to breathe. We need the breath. We need that. That gives us life. That gives us life, people. So I'm going to leave you with this. When you're feeling stressed, breathe. When your coworkers and your boss are being extra, breathe. The children getting on your last nerve, right? Breathe. When you cook spaghetti, and my husband will do this to me all the time. I love him. I love him to life, but he does this to me all the time. When you cook spaghetti and then your husband says he wants meatloaf, breathe. When you feel like you're at your wit's end, breathe and breathe and breathe some more. Join me next time where I will continue to discuss more of today's issues. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or even send me an email at Sheila'sTake@outlook.com for topics you would like discussed, or if you would like to be a guest on Sheila's Take. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Until next time, blessings to you.